I'm going real old school.
It's going to take me a minute to adjust.
No, I tell a lot of kids what I was doing. I said, I'm in my old Kung Fu movies, so I'm trying to grow this out and go all the way down. Then I'm gonna make sure it's really white.
Braid it down.
Yeah. So if I catch you skipping in the hallways, I'm gonna karate chop you.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the 2022 Monona Grove School District School Board Reorganizational Meeting. I'd like to confirm that there has been a declaration of public notice.
Yes.
Okay, all right, and so the first item on the agenda is the election of our board president. Per policy, I will preside through that election of that office. As a reminder to our board members, the process for electing officers is governed by Board Policy 152, and which states that the board shall elect from among its members a president, vice president, treasurer, and clerk, and that such elections will be at this reorganizational meeting. And then the nominations for board officers shall, at the request of a board member, be by written ballot, and any member receiving a vote is nominated. So I'd like to start, do I have a request to use written ballots?
I'll make that request.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Susan, you were still on mute.
Oh. I'll be on mute for the rest of the meeting.
Okay. All right.
You wish.
so the nominations and election shall be by written ballot. And so at this time, we'd like to ask for nominations for the position of president. And we'll hand out written nomination ballots for you to complete. So if you'd please, any board members may nominate one individual for the position of president. Okay, collect the nomination.
You're gonna get a lot of exercise.
Getting your steps in.
We have Lorraine Gage unanimously
Okay.
nominated.
So we have, all right, so we have one nomination for president, Lorraine Gage. And so I'd look for a motion to approve Lorraine as president through unanimous consent.
I move to approve Lorraine Gage as our president for this next year with unanimous consent.
Okay. If I did that procedurally, I think we do need a second and vote.
Yeah, I second
Okay.
it, actually Andrew was working on it.
Okay, so we have a second from Susan Manning. Okay, and then all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and so congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you sure about that?
No. All right. Next is the election for vice president.
Way too many.
We have two nominees, Elizabeth Cook and Susan Fox.
I'll withdraw my name. Just make this. So,
I'd like to make the motion to make Susan Fox the vice president.
I just withdrew my name. So, that's all right.
You know, I've been here so long. Let me withdraw it. I'd like to make the motion to nominate Elizabeth Cook as our new vice president.
All right, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion is carried. Congratulations.
You do understand you could have withdrawn.
And then what?
Watch, this is, Lorene is on her way to Florida for 3 weeks.
Oh, jeez.
Now she tells me.
All right. Leaving tomorrow. No.
All right.
All right, next is the election of treasurer.
We have 4 nominees, Susan Fox, Eric Hartz, Peter Sobel, and Andrew McKinney.
I will withdraw my name.
And I'm gonna withdraw my name as well.
All right, 2 nominees, Peter and Andrew. So then we go, or is this your?
This,
That's it.
yeah,
That's
that's
the
we
vote.
just did
Oh, I'm
totals.
sorry, I
It's
have
okay.
the white ones.
It's all right.
It's color coded.
She had white ballots for the real thing, she forgot the ones. It's not that. So,
You know what? Okay.
Okay.
So the most vote getter is Andrew.
Okay.
All right, I have a motion.
No, we don't need to.
Are we
We
not?
don't need to, because he
Yeah.
actually.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
congratulations,
So,
Andrew.
congratulations, Andrew.
Oh my God, so many people I'd like to thank.
All right, next is the election of clerk.
Okay, we have 4 nominees, Susan Fox, Eric Hartz, Peter Sobel, and Susan Manning.
And I would respectively withdraw.
I will withdraw.
I'll withdraw as well.
She got it.
I should have jumped in there.
So actually, I'm gonna reconsider, just because
No,
it makes you
that's-
guys think.
Okay.
I
That's
thought
fine.
you'd stay in there, okay. Well, nobody, no.
And I'm gonna reconsider too.
Either one.
Are you serious here?
Yeah.
Okay, I just checking.
Okay, so we have 3 of those. So Mark's gonna see it.
Wait,
Oh, good, so are we voting?
So we're gonna
You gotta revote.
revote.
On whites or blues?
So we
Yeah.
vote now.
Just use the vote.
Okay.
So those were the nominations, now you're actually gonna
Peter,
vote
Susan,
for the position
So
of
wait.
those 3
So
nominees.
it's
Right.
Peter, Susan, Manning, and
Eric.
Are we just trying to see who's awake tonight?
You really can't, it's been 2 years.
Those little 8th grader make them.
Yeah, I like that.
We just announced that Peter had the most votes.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Peter.
Congratulations.
All right, next is designation of depositories for school funds.
I would make a motion for approval of a resolution naming the following institution as depositories for school funds from the Monona Grove School District: the Monona State Bank, Summit Credit Union, PMA Financial Network Incorporated, and the statutorily authorized investment options to which they recommend, U.S. Bank and the Wisconsin Investment Series Cooperative.
Second.
Okay, and then any further discussion? Roll call vote. Eric?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Lorene? Aye. Susan Fox?
Aye.
Susan Manning? Peter?
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it, motion is carried. Next is the scheduling of regular board meetings, dates and locations.
I move approval of the 2022-2023 board meeting schedule as presented.
I second.
Any further discussion?
Can I make note that on the draft is carried forward from the previous year, and so you should be clear as to the location. If you recall this last year, you voted to meet virtually, and so if that's what you continue to do, I think to make it clear versus meeting here in the office.
Mm-hmm.
So is that something we can discuss, Lorraine?
Yes.
Well, I would prefer to meet in person. It's too bad, is there any way we could have an option to do both? Is that possible, or does that fall under some sort of legal obligation that we can't do that?
Yeah, so if you choose to hold the physical meeting here, you do have board policy that allows members to participate remotely. Part of the challenge is technology as far as broadcasting. We are getting an upgrade to our equipment that will occur in August. From now until then, in speaking to Will, I think he could manage a workaround to make that happen. It won't be ideal, but if we had the physical location here and someone needed to participate remotely, at a minimum, we could do it through audio, through phone, through video. We likely could do a workaround, but that would be the challenge.
I mean, would it be, but you're saying in August, then the equipment will be updated, it'll be an easier task to do like in August?
Correct.
I mean, I would support meeting in person now or starting next school year, but I think eventually we should get back to that point when we can. The meetings are faster, more productive, and that's usually how it gives the public a better chance to come too, so.
Susan, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I also have a slight preference for meeting in person. I just think the dynamic's different. I understand the convenience of virtual, and the public does have access virtually, so for me, that's not a huge thing. However, have been on the City Plan Commission where we were virtual, then we were in person with that option. I have to say that option of having it split that's just not great. I mean, it hasn't worked great for the Plan Commission. In the city, if you get new equipment to make it better, but if you're on your laptop coming in virtually, you can't necessarily see all the people in the meeting. The person who's chairing the meeting can't see all the people who are, it's just a weird setup. So I don't really like that. I think basically we do one or the other unless something happens with COVID again. So I guess I wouldn't want us to stay virtual hoping that equipment's gonna be the magic bullet, because I don't think it is personally, just my personal thought. So slight preference for meeting personal at this point, but I could go, if more people feel like they wanna wait till the end of the year or change the next best, whatever's fine with me too, so.
Okay. Susan and then Peter.
One of the things we did was we had, we brought students back in person, and we also did streaming virtual. So we know we have a capability to do that and to make it work. I just did a very important statewide board meeting that, I mean, sometimes, so one of the problems with being a board member before was if you had a sick relative and you were out of town, you were gone. You couldn't be in the meeting. And I think now that we have the capability of offering that virtual, and maybe you want to leave it up to the board president to determine whether or not, but we changed policy to allow that. And there are times that you could be in the meeting, but you can't be in person. So I think we should the streaming does work, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to see, I mean, all you have to do is put the camera right up there. I know these guys have been teaching doing that. So I think as a board, we should at least be able to accept that challenge. And in the event there is a serious need to take it virtually, the board member can still be there. And again, Peter can speak to this. There was a time where they couldn't do that, and they didn't allow us to do that. And my mother was quite ill, and I couldn't be here. I mean, and she actually died the night of the next board meeting.
We did change that policy though a long time ago, that you could come in virtually. The issue was voting or not voting, and yeah,
right.
I think
But all you have to do, we've changed
So
it.
it's
All you have to
definitely
do is
possible
be
now.
visible now. All you have to do is be able to see your face.
You can do it right now. You came on Skype at a meeting, I remember that. I mean, we've had the capacity, it's just what we prefer. So I guess, so I'd like to know what you're saying you prefer.
I'm
It sounds like you're
saying
preferring
that we should
virtual.
allow board members to come in virtually when it's the only way for them to attend.
So having the option of
Yes.
attending virtual, okay.
Yes.
Which I think is what.
Expect the
our policy
in-person.
currently does that, yeah.
And
Peter?
I understand the difference in dynamic when we meet, and I do miss sometimes not getting together with my colleagues. On the other hand, the virtual meetings I think are awfully convenient, not only for us, but also for the administrators and school district employees who get to join us from home, and they've got, you know, for me it's not a big deal, but for them with families it often is a big deal. And I particularly think about, you know, the diversity of people, of the community on the board, people who want to serve on the board. And it was difficult for me when I had kids to come over here and do it. And I would like to see that we make this being on the board, being on a committee as accessible as possible to the community. And I think if we have this technology that works with that, I think we should evaluate using it. I would consider using it. I also think that once in a while we should find ways to get together, not every meeting, but we should find ways to get together every quarter or something, you know, have special meetings or whatever, so that we can do that also on a regular basis. But in general, I would like to see us continue the virtual meeting. I mean, it is convenient if something else is going on, but also because I think it improves the accessibility, and I think that that is important. Particularly, for example, I have the Ad hoc Sustainability Committee, has a lot of community members on it. People live in Cottage Grove. We try to get a lot done, and having to meet, you know, I would continue with that, and of course that's not the board, but I would continue with that as long as it's, you know, feasible to use virtual, because I know it's convenient for the committee members. And I think that for us, again, to me, it's the issue of making this organization, this board, as accessible as possible to people, particularly younger people with kids in that district, who to be able to participate fully. And that's where I think the virtual meeting is going.
Thank you, Peter. Elizabeth and Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I'm of two minds about it, because from like a personal perspective, I agree completely with you, Peter. I mean, from a convenience perspective, and, you know, as a person on this board with young children, right, it makes my ability to both parent my children, right, and have dinner with my family and be a full participant in the board easier and better, right? I can have dinner, my kids can come in and say goodnight, you know, all those kinds of things, and then when I'm done, I'm there. So from a personal perspective, I like it, and I appreciate that aspect of it. And I also see where you're coming from, Eric, in terms of, like, you know, I think it's better to be in person. Like, it already feels better, right? Being in this space together, I think, makes a difference. And so if there's a way for us to, I hate to use this term, like hybrid it, right? Like, is there a way to think about, I think, Peter, your solution's an interesting one, like, you know, once a quarter we've got, you know, second and fourth Wednesdays. Maybe the second Wednesday is in and the fourth Wednesday is virtual, or something like that, to sort of mix and match it in a different way. Because I do think the accessibility matters, and as we want more people to engage with the district, the more accessible the better.
I don't want nobody to cry, but I miss y'all, and I'm glad we're here. Good to see you guys. But I do agree with Eric, and I also agree with Elizabeth. There's a way you can do it. Hybrid, the first meeting of the month here, and the second one virtual. I'd be good with that. But and then, like Peter said, and everybody else, we do have to have access, we gotta let, the community have access and being here too, so I'm with what they say, so whatever we go with, I'm fine with it.
Eric?
Well, I think that, you know, obviously everything's been disrupted in the last 2 years, and it's hard, it's hard to say anything good has come from it, but one of the things we had to adapt to and change was the virtual online meetings, and there is some benefit to the accessibility of that and the convenience to that, but I just don't see that as, you know, a change specifically for a public board meeting as being, you know, a positive thing. I think it's important to meet in person, not only for us to be here and be together and have discussions at a much quicker pace than online and more fluidity to it, but also that it gives the public an option to show up and be here. And public comments are a lot different in person than they are online and virtually. In fact, I think we probably had a significant decrease in public comments because of the process of emailing them and having them read. So I do think that it's important for that reason. And obviously, if we're in person, look, we all know things are going to change on a dime, and we're all ready for that. So, I mean, it's very likely we are in person, and numbers go up. We have to change back to. I'm not saying if we're going to do in person if public health says, you know, we need to have more restrictions. I mean, we've been following their guidelines the entire time, and I plan to continue to support the guidelines of the professionals. So. I'm not saying to meet in situations where it's not deemed safe, but I do think that it's valuable and important to do that. I also, Lorraine, wanted to just bring up, and I don't know if there's anybody else that, we used to meet once a month, and then we switched it to 2 times a month. And Peter, when you talk about convenience to family, that's a way more bigger convenience to family meeting once a month than 2 times a month for me. So I think of that right away as like, you know, having kids.
Don't blame me.
No, I'm just saying, to me, that would be, and if we change it to once a month in person, that also decreases the amount of time we're together too, in the same room. So, just my 2 cents.
Just a clarifying question. So, a couple board members asked or talked about a hybrid, having one meeting in person, one virtually. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I would prefer everything to be in person, but I mean, I would probably support that if there was at least a, you know.
You.
I'm sorry. Elizabeth is next, and then Peter.
Peter, do you have a question or a comment about virtual versus
Well,
in-person? Because I want to talk about meeting.
I was just
cadence.
going to ask Eric if, I think his preferred solution, from what I heard, would be 1 meeting in person a month.
Correct. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be my preferred.
So, and I think that that's a really interesting point. And as a person who is a proponent of the 2 meetings a month, right? I came at it from exactly your perspective, just the opposite angle, which is for me the challenge with 1 meeting a month is that our agendas were so full that we were having to schedule special meetings all the time, and that becomes more disruptive than having 2 planned meetings. And so I'm comfortable going back to once a month and then doing that in person. But I would defer, I think, some of my friends colleagues who've been on the board for longer around just thinking about your experience. Do you think there's a high likelihood that we're going to be in that sort of let's make special meetings often? Because that to me, like I said, just feels more disruptive. It doesn't happen on the same days all the time. I already have things scheduled that I have to rearrange. And so I personally have liked the 2 meetings. They feel quick, they feel efficient. It feels like we have time to discuss. But I'm willing to entertain 1 meeting.
I'm going to just jump in. I prefer the 2 meetings as well. Just from being on the board the previous year, our meetings were really, really long when we had just 1 meeting. And I think you're jamming a lot of information if we just do 1 meeting versus having 2 meetings. So that's my thoughts.
I feel really strongly about 2 meetings per month. I really thought the 1 meeting was a disservice. Not only the length of the meetings for me, I felt a little more disconnected to it. It was just like a whole month would go, it's just harder to get your head around some of the things, and I just think So my priority is on keeping 2 meetings in a month, and if that means we have to be all virtual, that'd be my priority. I could live with the hybrid thing too. I think that's a little weird. I remember when we used to change locations, that got to be a problem. People be at the wrong place at the, that was a real, not great. Now that we're here, and if we did stick to 1 meeting once in person and then the second meeting virtual, that's okay. I don't find any necessity for that, but I could live with it. But I'm definitely a strong proponent of 2 per month, whichever format it's in.
I would like to hear from other board members about the 2 meetings versus 1 meeting. Susan Manning?
I would say the same thing about, again, if you watched the televised meetings where we were once a month, after Andrew, you were president, after about 9 o'clock, we just didn't function as well. And people got, it just was harder to put the material together, and it became more stressful, and the later it got, and often there were really critically important issues on, and they were on at 11 o'clock at night. I mean, we had several board meetings that went until midnight. The other thing is, if you ask to put something on the agenda, it's full. So if you want to do a special program on mental health and mental health services, there wasn't an ability to do that. So you had to do a special meeting. Dan always has the option, if he doesn't have enough material, particular month, he can say, do you want to have 1 meeting this month? We'll cancel the other one and we'll make it a little bit longer. But again, at this point, based on where we've been, I think we've learned the lesson that we need the 2 meetings. And I'm still going back to the same thought, and I think we're kind of saying that, except for maybe Eric and maybe Peter, and that are a little bit different, but that is, go back in person, but set up the equipment so people can come in virtually if they need to. If you're in a national meeting, mental health meeting in LA, and you're free at night, you can still come into the meeting. Otherwise, we've lost you completely. And we have the capability to do that. So, so that's kind of where I am.
Eric and then Susan Fox.
I think that we should be very cautious of using the last 2 years for any data points, especially for long meetings, because it was a pandemic.
Yeah, well, there was that.
And I mean, as far as there was 1 meeting that went to midnight, as far as I remember. Before that, we were when we moved to 1 meeting, we really had, it wasn't half out of the pandemic and half in the pandemic. So it was during a very transitional time with a lot of very serious issues that we had to discuss and consider. So it's hard to say, really. I mean, I wouldn't say or even attempt to guess how long meetings would be, because I think there's so many different factors of discussion points and the dynamic of the board, and that we have this board this year, next year it could change, and that has a lot of effect on how long the meeting is, as well as the what's on the agenda too. So my preference, Lorene, would be to be in person, and if that means we're in person 2 times a month, I would support that and be okay with that. I would prefer 1, but I would support 2. So.
Okay, thank you. Eric, I'm sorry, Susan Fox.
Well, I was just going to say, our current policy allows us to do exactly that. If we decide to go in person, it already allows, if you're out of town or if someone's ill, current policy allows you to call in or set up whatever video is necessary. So that's not even a thing we'd have to decide. We already can do that. To me, I do want to point out that the current motion says to approve, I think, the schedule as presented, which includes the statement meetings will be held virtually until further notice. So if we want to change that, we have to amend the motion. So knowing that we can still discuss this, I would move to amend the motion to read that I vote to approve the current schedule of meetings as presented, with the exception that they be in person rather than virtual.
I'll second that.
Oh, I was just gonna, that's fine. I was gonna ask a procedural question, because it says until further notice, so couldn't that be now, so noticed?
Yeah, we have to vote on the schedule though, so why would we want to vote again? I mean, right?
So your amendment's just basically striking.
Just
what's
strike
in
out
the
the
other.
It's just striking out the
Yeah.
highlighted sentence is all it's doing.
I would
And
suggest.
this doesn't start till May 11, so, well, we're at that
Yeah.
point.
So you made a motion,
Never mind.
I would second
second
it.
it.
Discussion.
I would suggest a friendly amendment to add language that effectively says, will be in person and virtual option will be available for those board members who may need that option.
So point of order, just to get clarification, because Susan Fox made a motion and I seconded it, don't we go to discussion, have to vote on that first before we do another amendment? Or are you just saying Susan Manning to adjust what Susan Fox said?
Friendly amendment, if you.
I just think it's redundant, we don't need it. We already have a policy that says we can do that, so I just don't think we need to do that.
Yeah, but you're saying in person, in language, in a motion, which implies as written that you have to be here in person.
Okay, so here's what I'd rather do then. I would rather than just change my amendment to say I vote to approve the meeting's schedule as presented, but to strike the sentence currently highlighted in yellow. How's that?
Second.
Yeah.
If that makes you feel better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to comment procedurally, the rules do allow for the president to allow some time for a motion to be
Right.
sort of
To get
rejiggered.
the wording right.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what I want, that's all I want to make sure.
Is that was my intent, really,
We
to just
can't
strike that
only-
sentence, so.
All right.
I'm taking notes, Tish, so I can.
Did you get that finished? Oh my God, no one think to thought about you, did they?
That's true. That doesn't always help, actually.
All right, so the motion's out, it's been seconded. Is there any further discussion? Okay, then we can go to roll call vote. Peter?
Aye.
Susan Manning?
Aye.
Susan Fox?
Aye.
Maureen? Aye. Andrew?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it, motion is carried. Right. Next is the designation of legal counsel.
So, Lorraine, can I just make sure I totally understand this? So, we haven't made a decision about in-person or virtual.
We just did.
We
Yeah,
just
we
did,
just
basically,
voted for
that it's
it.
basically gonna be in person, but if you
Okay.
can't come in person, you can arrange it.
Perfect. Because we just,
But the one this Wednesday will still be virtual, right? Because that's not on this.
We don't have
Oh, we
a
don't
meeting
have
this,
one.
everyone's,
So then it'll be effective in the next meeting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
And I would also suggest that we find a way to make sure that administrators and staff who want to participate can do so virtually.
Mhm, Sure.
Yeah. So I think what I'll do is I'll meet with Will before the next time we meet and send out information to board members about procedures if you're not gonna be physically present. We need to work through, we always live stream through YouTube. Okay, if everyone's physically present, there's no need to use Zoom. What if we have one or two board members? How does that work? And so we'll get those details worked out and let you know, how to do that.
All right, next is the designation of legal counsel.
Make that motion. if you
Susan
want.
Fox?
I move approval of a resolution naming the following firms as legal counsel for the Monona Grove School District, Boardman and Clark Law Offices, WASD Counsel, Quarles and Brady, DeWitt, Ross and Stevens, SC, Godfrey and Kahn, SC, Strang, Pattison, Renning, Lewis and Lacey, SC, Von Briesen and Roper, SC, and Beulah, Vetter, Bukema, Olson and Meat, LLC.
Do I have a second?
second.
Okay, any further discussion?
I just have a question. Is this the same list as last year, Dan?
It is.
All right, move to roll call vote. Eric?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Lorraine? Aye. Susan Fox?
Aye.
Susan Manning?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it, motion is carried. Next is the designation of official newspaper. I have a motion, please.
I move approval of resolution naming the Herald Independent and McFarland Thistle as the official newspaper of the school district.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call vote. Peter?
Aye.
Susan Manning?
Aye.
Susan Fox?
Aye.
Lorraine? Aye. Andrew?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion is carried. Next is the designation of membership in professional organizations. Can I have a motion, please?
I move approval of a resolution naming the following organizations as the professional organizations which the Monona Grove School District are members, the Wisconsin Association of School Boards, and CISA 2.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call vote. Eric?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Lorraine? Aye. Susan Fox?
Aye.
Susan Manning?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion is carried. All right, next is the designation of CISA 2 representative. I have a motion, please.
Who's gonna
Who do
be
you want to ask if somebody wants to do this?
Who would like to do it?
What- And that what this requires is going to a meeting in Whitewater one night, and apparently they don't know.
Unfortunately, we don't have the exact date
Yeah,
yet.
that's
Normally,
unfortunate. Yeah,
They
usually
usually
they
have
do.
it.
So it's in June sometime.
Yeah.
Seems later than we said it would.
So who would like to do this?
If I knew the date,
I was gonna say, if you want-
I would consider it, but I'm not gonna commit to something if I don't know the date.
And this is a one-time, you said it's probably be in June, correct?
Yeah, it has to be in June.
Okay.
And
I would, I move approval of Andrew McKinney serving as the CISA 2 representative for 2022 to 2023.
Second?
That was quick.
Any further
I feel good about
discussion? Roll call vote. Eric?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Susan Fox?
Aye.
Susan Manning?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Lorraine? Aye. Ayes have it, motion is carried. All right, next is the designation of Monona Grove Education Foundation representative. Is there a person that would be interested?
If somebody
Susan,
else
you
is
wanna do it
interested, I
again?
think that's absolutely fine. I've done it. It's nice to have other people have the opportunity. It's a fair amount of work. You have to meet 2 hours once a month. And then, again, I'm quite involved in assistance in the fundraising, particularly for the student scholarships. If somebody else wants to do it, I think they should have the opportunity. But it means you have to go and you have to do some work.
Susan,
I was gonna say, I would move approval of Susan Manning serving as the Monona Grove Education Foundation representative for 2022-23.
Second?
okay, any further discussion? Roll call vote. Peter?
Aye.
Susan Manning?
No, aye.
Nope.
Susan Fox? I don't know if we get it.
That seems
Okay,
so
Andrew?
Not-
Andrew?
Aye.
Did I hear you?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Lorraine? Aye. Ayes have it, motion is carried.
Aye.
All right, congratulations.
Isn't it fun we can so laugh about it?
All right, next is the designation of Wisconsin Association of School Board Delegate.
I move approval, Andrew McKinney of serving as the Wisconsin Association of School Board WASB delegate for 2022, 2023.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, roll call vote. Eric?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Susan Fox?
Aye.
Susan Manning?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Lorraine? Aye. Ayes have it, motion is carried.
Dude.
All right. Next is the designation of Board Legislative Liaison.
You wanna do this again, Susan?
Susan? If somebody else wants to do it again, welcome to it. I'm willing to do it again.
Can I
Kinda
have
like,
approval
kinda
of
have-
Susan Fox
sort of-
serving as a legislative liaison for 2022-2023?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Need the roll call vote. Eric?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Susan Fox?
Aye.
Susan Manning?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Lorraine? Aye. Ayes have it, motion is carried. Next is the designation of membership in Wisconsin Public Education Network. All right, can I have a motion, please?
I move approval of membership in the Wisconsin Public Education Network for 2022-2023.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Peter?
Aye.
Susan Manning?
Aye.
Susan Fox?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Lorraine? Aye. Ayes have it, motion is carried. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.85 for consideration of the following: employment associate, principal at Granite Ridge School, and employee separation agreement and release.
Second.
Roll call vote. Peter?
Aye.
Susan Manning?
Aye.
Susan Fox?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Lorraine? Aye. Ayes have it, motion is carried. All right, the first is the employment
Wait.
of.
We have to go, we have to move into the other
Yeah,
room.
it's
Sorry.
been 2
Sorry.
years. It's been 2 years. We
gotta
go in
move.
there now.
And
Thank you.
I just want to let people know before you, I just